The winter wind whips through downtown Columbus, Ohio, sending discarded papers skittering across empty sidewalks. It's early morning, that quiet hour when the city is just beginning to stir, and Beverly Davis huddles deeper into her worn coat, seeking shelter in the doorway of a closed coffee shop. She's been homeless for 3 months now, ever since losing her job as a medical records clerk and subsequently her apartment. Each day a struggle to maintain hope and dignity. The sound of approaching footsteps causes Beverly to look up, though. She's learned to expect either indifference or discomfort from passing strangers, but this morning is different. The woman approaching walks with purpose, dressed in a warm burgundy coat, her dark hair neat despite the wind. Something about her presence radiates both authority and compassion. Usha Vance is making her usual morning walk to a local community center where she volunteers, her mind already planning the day ahead. As the wife of Ohio's senator, her schedule is typically packed with meetings and charitable engagements, but she's never too busy to notice those around her. When she sees Beverly trying to stay warm in the doorway, she slows her pace. "Good morning," Usha says warmly, stopping a respectful distance away. "You look like you could use a hot cup of coffee." Beverly straightens, surprised by the direct acknowledgement. Most people pretend not to see her. Yes, that would be nice," she manages to say, her voice rough from disuse. "I'm Usha," she says, deliberately leaving off her last name. "There's a cafe around the corner that should be opening right about now. Would you join me?" Minutes later, they sit in the warm interior of the cafe, where Andrew Liu, the owner, greets Usha with familiar respect. Beverly wraps her hands around a steaming mug of coffee, while a plate of eggs and toast sits before her. The simple act of sitting at a clean table, being treated like a person rather than a problem, brings unexpected tears to her eyes. "Tell me your story," Usha says gently, her own coffee untouched as she focuses on Beverly. "I'd like to understand how I can help." The story spills out. Beverly's 20 years as a medical records clerk, the hospital's sudden transition to a new digital system, the layoffs that followed. Her savings lasted 2 months. Her family, scattered across the country and facing their own struggles, couldn't offer more than temporary help. Now, at 56, she finds herself sleeping in shelters when there's space, doorways when there isn't. The hardest part, Beverly confides, is applying for jobs without an address, trying to stay presentable enough for interviews without a home. "It feels like a trap I can't escape." Usha listens intently, asking thoughtful questions about Beverly's skills, her experience, her goals. She takes notes in a small notebook, her expression focused and determined. "The system can be overwhelming when you're facing it alone," she says. "But you're not alone anymore. Let's break this down into steps we can tackle." As they talk, the cafe begins to fill with morning customers. Andrew Liu quietly keeps their coffee cups full, understanding that something important is happening. At the corner table, through the window, the winter sun finally breaks through the clouds, casting a warm glow over the scene. "First," Usha says, reviewing her notes, "you need a stable place to stay while we work on permanent housing. I know a women's transitional center with an opening." She pauses, making sure Beverly is comfortable with each suggestion. "They can also provide a mailing address for job applications and professional clothes for interviews." Beverly listens, hardly daring to hope as Usha outlines a practical plan of action. It's not just the offer of help that moves her. It's the way Usha speaks to her as an equal, seeing her situation as a temporary challenge to be overcome rather than a defining characteristic. "The medical records field has changed," Usha continues, "but your experience is valuable. I know several hospitals that are looking for staff who can bridge the gap between old and new systems during their digital transitions. Would you be interested in that kind of role?" For the first time in months, Beverly feels a spark of genuine hope. "Yes," she says firmly. Yes, I would. The morning lengthens as they develop a concrete plan. Usha makes several phone calls, her quiet authority opening doors that had seemed firmly closed. By the time they finish their second cup of coffee, Beverly has an appointment at the Transitional Center, a meeting with a job counselor, and something even more precious, a restored sense of dignity. This isn't charity, Usha says, seeing the mix of gratitude and hesitation in Beverly's eyes. This is community. Sometimes we all need someone to help us find our footing again. As they prepare to leave, Andrew Liu approaches their table. Your money's no good here, he says when Usha reaches for her wallet. Some things are more important than profit. His eyes meet Beverly's. Come back tomorrow morning if you'd like. We could use help during the breakfast rush, paid under the table until you get back on your feet. Outside, the winter wind has softened, and the day feels full of possibility. Beverly stands straighter, her dignity returning with each small act of kindness and respect. Usha checks her watch. She's running late for her first meeting, but some things take priority over schedules. By afternoon, the impact of Usha Vance's morning encounter begins to ripple through Columbus. At the Bright Horizons Women's Transitional Center, Lisa Wallace, the program director, prepares a private room for Beverly's arrival. The center, usually operating at full capacity, had somehow found space after receiving Usha's call. Not because of who was asking, but because of how she asked. It's not just about providing a bed, Usha explains to Lisa, helping to make up the room with fresh linens. It's about creating a space where someone can rebuild their life with dignity. Beverly arrives carrying everything she owns in a weathered backpack. Her eyes widen at the sight of the small but clean room, complete with a desk and window overlooking a peaceful courtyard. I can stay here? She asks, touching the neat bedspread as if it might disappear. This is your space, Lisa assures her. Now let's talk about next steps. In the center's office, they begin mapping out a plan. Robin Baker, the center's job placement coordinator, arrives with a portfolio of employment opportunities. The healthcare industry is actually struggling right now, she explains. They need people who understand both traditional and digital record-keeping systems. Your experience could be invaluable during this transition period. As they talk, Usha receives a text from Andrew Liu at the cafe. He's already spread the word to other local business owners about Beverly's situation, and responses are pouring in. The owner of a nearby department store offers professional clothing for interviews. A local salon volunteers styling services. Each small gesture adds another piece to the foundation of Beverly's recovery. People want to help, Usha tells Beverly, showing her the messages. Sometimes they just need to know how. By early evening, Catherine McGrath, a retired HR professional who volunteers at the center, sits with Beverly, helping her update her resume. They focus on reframing her experience to highlight her adaptability and deep understanding of medical record systems. You're not just a clerk, Catherine explains, typing quickly. You're a specialist in medical information management with 2 decades of experience in patient record systems. That's valuable expertise. Meanwhile, Usha makes a series of calls from her office. Her conversation with Beverly has highlighted a larger issue, the number of experienced professionals who find themselves displaced by technological changes. This isn't just about helping one person, it's about addressing a systemic problem. We need a bridge program, she tells Eric Carrillo, a member of the city's Workforce Development Board. Something that helps experienced workers adapt to new systems while valuing their existing knowledge. The idea catches fire. By sunset, a preliminary plan is taking shape for a pilot program that will help workers transition during technological upgrades, using their experience to help implement new systems rather than being displaced by them. Beverly, unaware of these larger developments, focuses on her immediate steps forward. She organizes her new room, carefully hanging the interview clothes provided by the department store. For the first time in months, she has a private space to think, to plan, to dream. Again, you know what meant the most? She tells Lisa during their evening check-in. She looked me in the eyes. She saw me as a person, not a problem. Later that night, Usha sits in her home office, reflecting on the day's events. Her assistant, Paul Hansen, reviews the schedule changes they made to accommodate the morning's unexpected turn. Sometimes the most important meetings are the ones that weren't planned, she says, making notes for tomorrow. We need to institutionalize this kind of response, make it easier for people to help each other. She thinks about Beverly, now safely settled in her room at the transitional center. One chance encounter, one decision to stop and engage rather than walk past. It can change everything. But it's what happens next that matters most. The sustained effort, the community engagement, the systematic changes that can prevent others from falling through the cracks. The next morning, Beverly arrives early at Andrew Liu's cafe, ready. For her first shift, she's wearing one of her new outfits, her hair neatly styled, her posture straight with renewed confidence. Customers fill the tables, many of them regulars who know Usha's connection to the place. Andrew introduces Beverly to the morning crew, not as someone who needs help, but as their newest team member. The warmth of their welcome, the normalcy of the moment, it's another step toward rebuilding. Usha stops by briefly, picking up her usual morning coffee. She and Beverly exchange smiles, no longer strangers, but partners in an unfolding story of community and renewal. You know, Andrew says after Usha leaves, she does this all the time, not for recognition, not for publicity, simply because she believes every person deserves to be seen, to be heard, to be given a chance. Beverly nods, understanding now that she's not just receiving help, she's becoming part of a larger network of mutual support and respect. As she learns the rhythm of the cafe, greeting customers and mastering the coffee machines, she's already thinking about how she can help others once she's back on her feet. Outside, the winter wind still blows through Columbus, but it carries a different message now. It speaks not of isolation and hardship, but of connection and possibility. One simple act of kindness, multiplied by a community's response, can change not just a life, but the very fabric of a city's heart. 2 weeks after that fateful morning encounter, the conference room at Columbus Memorial Hospital buzzes with anticipation. Beverly Davis sits at a polished table, wearing a navy blue suit provided by the Community Support Program, her portfolio open before her. Across from her, the hospital's IT director and head of medical records listen intently as she explains how she helped manage patient records during her 20 years of experience. The challenge isn't just moving from paper to digital, Beverly explains, her confidence growing with each word. It's understanding how to maintain continuity of care during the transition. I've seen how small details can get lost in translation between systems. Usha Vance sits quietly in the corner, not as a senator's wife, but as a supportive presence. She's here not to influence the decision, but to witness the fruits of community collaboration. The interview had been arranged through proper channels, Beverly's qualifications speaking for themselves. Meanwhile, across town at Andrew Liu's cafe, a new dynamic is taking shape. What started as a temporary helping hand has evolved into something more significant. Beverly's morning shifts have become a model for a broader employment initiative. Andrew has partnered with the Bright Horizons Women's Transitional Center to create a formal training program offering temporary work experience to women rebuilding their lives. Beverly showed us what's possible. Andrew tells a group of business owners gathered for breakfast, these women don't need charity, they need opportunity, dignity, and a chance to demonstrate their capabilities. Lisa Wallace from the Transitional Center shares success metrics from the past 2 weeks. Since implementing this program, we've seen a 60% increase in successful job placements. Having a current work reference, even from a temporary position, makes a crucial difference in interviews. The morning light streams through the cafe windows as Cynthia Guzman, another local business owner, stands to speak. "I'm committing 3 training positions in my accounting firm," she announces. "If we all do our part, we can create a network of opportunity across Columbus." Back at the hospital, Beverly's interview transitions into an impromptu consulting session. Her insights into the challenges of medical records modernization spark intense interest from the IT team. "We hadn't considered the practical implications of how nurses actually use these systems during their rounds," the IT director admits. "Your frontline experience could be invaluable during our upcoming digital transition." As the meeting concludes, a new position begins to take shape, one that hadn't existed before. Not just a records clerk, but a systems transition specialist, someone who can bridge the gap between old and new methodologies, between technical capabilities and practical needs. "We'd like to create a position specifically for this transition. Period," the medical records director explains. "Someone who understands both worlds and can help train staff while ensuring we don't lose critical information in the process. Would you be interested in helping us design such a role?" Beverly's hands tremble slightly as she realizes what's being offered: not just a job, but a chance to shape how hospitals handle this critical transition. It's an opportunity to turn her years of experience into something even more valuable. Later, that afternoon, at the transitional center, Beverly shares her news with a group of women who have become her support system. Among them is Catherine McGrath, who's been helping residents with interview preparation. "See," Catherine says to the group, "experience never loses its value. Sometimes it just needs to be reframed for a new context." Usha, who has slipped quietly into the back of the room, watches as Beverly's story inspires others. Each woman in the circle begins to look at her own experience differently, seeing possibilities where before they saw only closed doors. Timothy Snow, a career counselor recently brought in to support the expanding program, takes notes as the women discuss their backgrounds. "Every one of you has valuable experience," he tells them. "Our job is to help you present it in ways that today's employers can recognize and appreciate." The afternoon sun casts long shadows through the centers windows as women share their stories, their hopes, their newfound sense of possibility. What started as one person helping another has grown into a movement of mutual support and empowerment. Paul Hansen, coordinating logistics for the growing program, updates Usha on the latest numbers. "We've got 15 businesses signed up for the training program now, and 3 more hospitals interested in Beverly's transition specialist model." Outside the center, the city goes about its business, unaware that a quiet revolution is taking place within these walls. It's a revolution of dignity, of opportunity, of community members recognizing that everyone's experience has value, that everyone deserves a chance to contribute. Beverly stands at the window, watching the sunset paint the Columbus skyline in shades of hope. 2 weeks ago, she was sleeping in doorways. Now she's helping design a program that could change how hospitals across the country handle technological transitions. "You know what the real change is?" she says to Usha, who has joined her at the window. "It's not just about having a job or a place to stay. It's about remembering who you are, what you're capable of, and then using that knowledge to help others remember the same thing about themselves." 1 month after Beverly's first morning at Andrew Liu's cafe, the Columbus Convention Center hosts an unexpected gathering. The Bridge to Tomorrow Workforce Summit brings together business leaders, healthcare administrators, and social service providers from across the Midwest. At the center of it all stands Beverly Davis, now dressed in a confident charcoal suit, preparing to address the assembled crowd. Usha Vance sits in the front row, her presence lending weight to the proceedings. Without overshadowing the true stars of the day, the program participants themselves. Lisa Wallace from the Transitional Center arranges presentation materials, while Timothy Snow helps other program graduates prepare their speeches. What began as a simple act of kindness, Beverly begins, her voice steady and sure, has revealed something profound about how we handle technological transition in our workforce. The experience we thought was outdated has become the bridge we desperately need. The audience listens intently as Beverly outlines how her role at Columbus Memorial Hospital has evolved. What started as a position helping with digital transition has expanded into a comprehensive program for integrating experienced workers into modern systems. We're not just preserving jobs, she explains, pointing to data projected on the screen behind her. We're preserving institutional knowledge while building stronger, more effective systems. Our patient satisfaction scores have actually increased during the transition because we're maintaining the human touch while implementing technical improvements. Robin Baker, who has been tracking employment statistics, shares remarkable numbers. In just 1 month, we've placed 38 experienced workers in transition specialist roles across various industries. The program has a 92% retention rate, and participating companies report smoother technological implementations when they utilize these bridge positions. During the lunch break, Andrew Liu leads a panel discussion with other business owners who have joined the initiative. Cynthia Guzman shares how her accounting firm has benefited from hiring experienced workers to help clients transition to new financial software systems. These aren't just feel-good hires, she emphasizes. These employees bring invaluable perspective to our modernization efforts. They understand both the old and new ways of doing things, which makes them perfect guides for our clients. Eric Garillo, representing the city's Economic Development Office, announces the creation of a formal certification program. We're calling it the Experience Bridge Certification. It helps experienced workers update their skills while validating their existing knowledge. 5 major universities have already agreed to participate in developing the curriculum. The afternoon sessions focus on practical implementation. Catherine McGrath leads a workshop on identifying transferable skills and adapting them to new technological contexts. Paul Hansen presents a framework for businesses to evaluate where bridge positions could benefit their modernization efforts. But the most powerful moments come from the personal stories. One by one, program participants share their journeys from displacement to empowerment. A former bank teller now helps senior citizens navigate online banking. A retired teacher trains corporate employees on new educational software. Each story reinforces the same message. Experience never loses its value. It just needs a new context. During the final panel of the day, hospital administrators from 3 states discuss implementing Beverly's transition specialist model in their own facilities. This isn't just about helping workers, one director notes. It's about recognizing that technological progress doesn't have to come at the cost of human experience. As the summit draws to a close, Usha takes the stage for a brief moment. What we're witnessing here isn't charity, she reminds the audience. It's community wisdom finally being recognized and valued. Every person in this room has something to teach and something to learn. That's how real progress happens. The evening ends with a dinner where new partnerships form and future plans take shape. Beverly finds herself at a table with healthcare executives eager to implement similar programs in their organizations. Andrew Liu discusses franchising his training cafe model with restaurant owners from other cities. Lisa Wallace collects contact information from social service providers wanting to replicate the transitional center's success. You know what amazes me most? Beverly says to Usha as they watch the networking unfold. A month ago, I thought my experience had become worthless. Now I'm helping design programs that will help thousands of others like me." Usha smiles, remembering that cold morning when she first stopped to talk to a stranger in a doorway. Sometimes, the biggest changes start with the smallest moments of connection. As the evening winds down, plans are already in motion for regional training centers, certification programs, and a national database connecting experienced workers with companies in technological transition. What began as one woman helping another has grown into a movement that recognizes the value of human experience in an increasingly digital world. Outside the convention center, the Ohio night is clear and full of stars. Beverly stands at the entrance, watching attendees leave with new purpose and plans. Tomorrow, she'll return to her role at the hospital, helping guide another department through its digital transformation. But now she knows she's part of something larger, a growing network of people proving that progress works best when it bridges the gap between past and future, between experience and innovation, between human wisdom and technological advancement. "Ready to go home?" Usha asks, joining her at the entrance. Beverly nods, thinking about how much the word home has come to mean in the past month. It's not just about having a place to stay anymore. It's about belonging to a community that values what you have to offer, that sees your experience as an asset rather than a liability. As they walk to their cars, they pass the cafe where their story began. The lights are still on as Andrew trains another group of program participants for the morning shift. Through the window, they can see hope in action, proof that when one person stops to help another, the ripples of change can transform an entire community. 3 months after the Columbus Summit, a transformed Beverly Davis stands at the podium in the East Room of a Washington, D.C. conference center. The audience before her includes CEOs, policymakers, and social program directors from across the nation. Behind her, a large screen displays the new logo of the Bridge to Tomorrow initiative, while Usha Vance sits quietly in the wings, watching her friend command the room with newfound confidence. "When I was sleeping in a doorway in Columbus," Beverly begins, her voice steady and strong, "I thought my decades of experience had become worthless. Today, I'm here to tell you how that same experience is helping hospitals across 3 states modernize their record systems while maintaining quality patient care." The presentation screen shifts to show impressive statistics. 27 hospitals have now adopted the transition specialist model. Over 300 displaced workers have found new roles bridging the gap between traditional and digital systems. Patient satisfaction scores have risen an average of 23% in participating facilities. Andrew Liu, who has flown in from Columbus, takes the stage next to discuss the training cafe model that began with Beverly's first morning shift. "We've now established 15 cafes in 8 cities, he explains, clicking through photographs of smiling employees in various locations. Each one serves as both a legitimate business and a training ground for people rebuilding their lives." Lisa Wallace, now the National Director of the Bright Horizons Network, presents data on the program's expanding impact. What started as one transitional center in Columbus has grown into a network of 12 facilities across the Midwest. We're not just providing shelter, we're creating pathways to sustainable careers. In the audience, Catherine McGrath beams with pride. She's recently been appointed head of the Experience Bridge Certification Program, which has partnered with major universities to create standardized training modules. "Our first class of certified transition specialists graduates next month," she announces during the Q&A session. Every single one has already received multiple job offers. The morning sessions focus on practical implementation strategies. Paul Hansen, who now coordinates logistics for the national program, leads a workshop on establishing local business partnerships. The key, he emphasizes, is showing companies that this isn't charity, it's smart business. Experienced workers, bring invaluable insight to technological transitions. During the lunch break, Beverly finds herself surrounded by hospital administrators eager to learn more about implementing the program in their facilities. She handles their questions with the expertise of someone who has lived both sides of the story, from homelessness to system architect. The most important thing, she tells them, is maintaining dignity throughout the process. These aren't just workers you're helping, they're experts whose experience you need. Cynthia Guzman, whose accounting firm has become a model for financial sector implementation, shares success stories from her expanded program. We now have former bank tellers teaching corporate clients how to transition to new financial software. Their understanding of both traditional banking and customer service makes them invaluable guides. The afternoon brings a surprise announcement from Eric Carrillo, who has been working with the Department of Labor. We're launching a national database connecting experienced workers with companies undergoing technological transitions. Think of it as a bridge between wisdom and innovation. Timothy Snow, now heading the program's education division, demonstrates new training modules designed to help workers translate their traditional skills into digital age assets. We're not teaching people to abandon their experience, he explains. We're showing them how to adapt it to new contexts. As the day progresses, more success stories emerge. A former librarian who now helps schools transition to digital learning platforms. A retired manufacturing supervisor who trains companies implementing automation systems. Each story reinforces the program's core message: experience isn't obsolete, it's essential for progress. Usha watches it all from various corners of the conference, deliberately staying in the background. This movement has taken on a life of its own, driven by the very people it was designed to help. Her simple act of stopping to talk to someone in need has sparked a national revolution in how we view experience in the age of technological change. During an afternoon panel, Beverly shares the stage with other program graduates. Together, they paint a picture of transformation that goes beyond individual success stories. They're creating a new model for handling technological transition, one that values human experience as much as technical innovation. We're not just saving jobs, Beverly tells the audience. We're preserving wisdom while building bridges to the future. Every person in this room has something valuable to contribute, regardless of their age or technological background. The day's final session focuses on future expansion. Plans are unveiled for international partnerships, with delegations from Europe and Asia expressing interest in implementing similar programs. What began as a local solution to individual hardship has evolved into a global model for humanitarian progress. As the afternoon sun streams through the conference center's windows, Beverly takes a moment to reflect on the journey. 3 months ago, she was helping one hospital navigate its digital transition. Now, she's part of a movement that's redefining how society values experience in the digital age. You know what the real miracle is? She says to Usha during a quiet moment. It's not just about finding new jobs or creating new programs. It's about changing how we see human value in times of technological change. Every person has wisdom worth preserving, worth adapting, worth sharing. As evening falls over Washington, D.C., the conference center's grand ballroom transforms into a celebration space. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over round tables where program graduates mingle with business leaders and policymakers. But this is no ordinary gala. It's a testament to the power of human dignity and the value of experience. Beverly Davis, still wearing her presentation suit but now more relaxed, sits at a table with Andrew Liu and some of the first participants from his original training cafe. They share stories of their journeys, each one a thread in the larger tapestry of transformation. Remember my first morning trying to operate the espresso machine? Beverly laughs, addressing Andrew. Who knew that learning to make lattes would lead to redesigning hospital systems? Robin Baker, who has joined their table, adds perspective from her work with job placement. What's remarkable is how the model keeps evolving. Each person who comes through the program adds something new, some insight we hadn't considered before. Across the room, Lisa Wallace hosts a table of directors from newly established transitional centers. They exchange ideas and strategies, each facility adding its own local flavor to the core program. One center in Detroit has partnered with automotive companies, helping experienced assembly line workers transition to automated manufacturing. Another in Minneapolis works with farmers adapting to digital agriculture systems. Catherine McGrath circulates through the crowd with a tablet, collecting video testimonials for the program's archive. These aren't just success stories, she explains to a curious observer. They're blueprints for others to follow, proof that experience never loses its value. Near the entrance, Paul Hansen welcomes a surprise guest, the original nurse from Columbus Memorial, who first recognized how valuable Beverly's experience could be during their digital transition. She's now helping implement similar programs in hospitals across the country. Sometimes, the best innovations come from listening to the right people at the right moment, she tells a group of healthcare administrators. We thought we needed more IT specialists, when what we really needed were people who understood both the human and technical sides of patient care. Usha Vance moves quietly through the celebration, taking in the conversations, the laughter, the sense of restored dignity that fills the room. She pauses at a wall display showing photographs from the program's evolution, starting with that first morning at Andrew's Cafe, continuing through the Columbus Summit, and ending with today's national conference. Timothy Snow joins her at the display, pointing to a particular image of Beverly training new transition specialists. You know what makes this program different? He asks. It's not just about finding people jobs. It's about helping them recognize and reframe their own value. The evening's formal program begins with a video montage of success stories from across the country. The audience watches as former bank tellers describe teaching elderly customers to use online banking. Retired teachers demonstrate new educational software to young colleagues, and experienced manufacturing workers help program robotic systems. When Beverly takes the podium for the evening's keynote address, she carries herself with the confidence of someone who has found not just success, but purpose. 3 months ago at the Columbus Summit, we talked about building bridges between experience and innovation, she begins. Today, we're not just building bridges, we're reshaping how society values wisdom in the digital age. Every person in this room has a story of rediscovery, of realizing that what we thought was outdated knowledge is actually essential insight. She gestures to the gathered crowd, acknowledging both program graduates and business leaders. This program works because it recognizes a fundamental truth. Real progress doesn't discard experience, it builds upon it. Every technological advance needs human wisdom to reach its full potential. The celebration continues into the night, but it's the quiet moments that carry the most weight. 2 program participants from different cities discovering they faced similar challenges, a CEO learning valuable insights from a former factory worker, a young IT specialist, and a retired librarian collaborating on new ways to preserve institutional knowledge. Near midnight, Beverly finds herself back at the table where she started, sharing a quiet moment with Usha. I've been thinking about that. Morning in Columbus, Beverly says, her voice soft with reflection. If you hadn't stopped, if you hadn't taken the time to really see me and listen. Usha shakes her head, smiling. That morning, I just did what any human being should do for another. Everything that's happened since then, that's because of people like you, Beverly. People willing to take their hardest moments and transform them into wisdom that helps others. Outside the ballroom windows, the lights of Washington, D.C. twinkle like stars, each one perhaps representing another life, waiting to be reconnected with its value, another bridge waiting to be built between experience and opportunity. "You know what tomorrow brings?" Beverly asks, gathering her things as the evening winds down. "More work, more stories, more bridges to build." Usha nods, understanding that this isn't an ending, it's a continuation. What started as a simple act of kindness on a cold Columbus morning has evolved into a movement that recognizes every person's potential to contribute, to grow, to help others across whatever gaps they face. As the celebration ends and people begin to depart, the air is filled not just with satisfaction at what's been accomplished, but with anticipation of what's still to come. Because in the end, this isn't just about bridging the gap between old and new. It's about recognizing that every human being carries value, that every experience holds wisdom, and that progress works best when it brings everyone along. 6 months after the Washington conference, Beverly Davis stands at the window of her office in the newly established International Bridge Center in Columbus, watching the morning sun illuminate a bustling scene below. Delegations from 3 continents arrive in a steady stream, their diverse languages filling the air with a symphony of possibility. The center, a converted warehouse space that perfectly embodies the program's philosophy, maintains much of its industrial character while incorporating cutting-edge technology. Ancient brick walls house state-of-the-art training facilities, a physical representation of bridging old and new. It's quite a change from that coffee shop doorway, isn't it? Usha Vance says softly, joining Beverly at the window. Beverly turns, smiling at her friend who has become so much more than just the person who stopped to help that winter morning. "Sometimes I still can't believe it. Yesterday I was on a video call with a group in Tokyo discussing how to help traditional craftsmen adapt to digital marketplaces. The center buzzes with activity as Andrew Liu leads a tour group through the Model Training Cafe, now an integral part of the facility. He's developed a comprehensive franchise system that maintains the program's core values while adapting to local cultures and needs. In Singapore, they're using the cafe model to help hawker stall owners transition to digital ordering systems, he explains to the visitors. In Mumbai, it's helping traditional market vendors adapt to e-commerce platforms. Lisa Wallace, who now heads the International Outreach Division, hosts a meeting with social service providers from across Europe. The Bright Horizons model has proven particularly successful in regions facing similar challenges with technological displacement. The key is maintaining cultural sensitivity while implementing the core principles, she explains, as Timothy Snow demonstrates their newly developed translation software. Every community has its own unique wisdom to preserve. In the technology wing, Catherine McGrath works with a team of developers to refine the Experience Bridge certification program for global implementation. The platform now includes modules in 12 languages with cultural adaptations for different regions. "We're not just translating words," she tells a group of international educators. "We're translating concepts of value, dignity, and experience in ways that resonate across cultures." Paul Hansen coordinates logistics for the growing global network from a command center filled with screens, showing real-time data from programs worldwide. "We've got active initiatives in 28 countries now," he reports during the morning briefing, each one teaching us something new about how different cultures approach the challenge of technological transition. The morning's main event takes place in the center's conference hall, where Beverly leads a global symposium on healthcare digitization. Medical professionals from various countries share their experiences with the transition specialist model. Rural Sweden, We're using this approach to help experienced healthcare workers bridge the gap between traditional community care and telemedicine, a Norwegian delegate explains. The human element remains crucial even in digital delivery. Robin Baker presents data showing the program's international impact. Employment rates among older workers rising in participating regions, successful technology implementations increasing, and perhaps most importantly, improved satisfaction rates among both workers and customers. What we're seeing, she explains, pointing to a world map dotted with success stories, is that wisdom and experience are universal currencies. They just need the right exchange rate. Cynthia Guzman joins virtually from Singapore, where she's helping establish a financial sector program. The principles we developed in Columbus work because they're fundamentally human, she tells the assembled crowd. Everyone wants to feel valued. Everyone has something to contribute. Eric Carrillo, now the program's international policy advisor, leads a discussion on adapting the model for different economic systems. Whether it's a traditional marketplace in Morocco or a tech hub in Estonia, the basic human need to bridge experience with innovation remains constant. As the morning sessions continue, Beverly takes a moment to visit the center's heritage wall, where the story of the program's origins is preserved. There's a photograph of that first morning at Andrew's Cafe, another of the Columbus Summit, and now images from around the world showing how far the initiative has spread. You know what amazes me most? She says to Usha, who has joined her again. Every culture has its own version of my story. People with valuable experience feeling displaced by change, just needing someone to recognize their worth. Through the center's windows, they can see groups of international visitors touring the training facilities, each one potentially representing thousands more lives that could be transformed. The morning sun catches the building's new sign, Bridge to Tomorrow, where experience meets innovation. When you stopped to talk to me that morning, Beverly continues, you didn't just help one person, you sparked a realization that's crossing borders and changing how the world views progress. Usha smiles, watching a group of Japanese executives earnestly discussing implementation strategies with former factory workers from Detroit. That's because true progress isn't about replacing the old with the new, she says. It's about building bridges between them. The morning continues with breakthrough after breakthrough. A team from Brazil discovers a way to help indigenous craftspeople preserve traditional techniques while accessing global markets. Australian delegates share success stories about Aboriginal knowledge enhancing modern environmental technology. Every conversation, every meeting, every new connection reinforces the program's core message. In a world racing toward digital transformation, human experience isn't obsolete. It's more valuable than ever. As twilight descends over Columbus, the International, Bridge Center transforms into a vibrant celebration of global unity and human potential. The converted warehouse space glows with warmth, its industrial chic architecture illuminated by thousands of traditional lanterns from around the world, each one representing a community touched by the program. Beverly Davis, wearing an elegant blue dress that perfectly bridges professional and festive, stands at the entrance greeting delegates from dozens of countries. Each arrival brings new stories of transformation, new perspectives on the universal value of human experience. The evening air fills with a symphony of languages, all expressing the same fundamental truth: wisdom knows no borders. Andrew Liu has orchestrated a remarkable feat for the evening's dining experience. His network of training cafes across the globe has contributed dishes prepared by program participants, creating a literal taste of the initiative's international impact. Each table features QR codes linking to videos of the chefs sharing their journey from traditional cooking methods to digital age entrepreneurship. In Tokyo, he explains to a gathered group, we had a third-generation sushi chef who thought his career was over when his restaurant went digital. Now he's teaching artificial intelligence systems how to recognize perfect fish quality while preserving traditional preparation techniques. Lisa Wallace moves through the crowd with a team of translators, facilitating connections between participants from different countries. At one table, a former Barcelona bookshop owner discusses with a Seoul technology executive how traditional literary knowledge enhances modern e-reader recommendations. At another, a Moscow craftsman shares insights with a Silicon Valley developer about incorporating traditional artisan techniques into 3D printing. Every conversation tonight is a bridge being built, Lisa observes, watching the interactions unfold. Every shared story is another gap being closed between tradition and innovation. Catherine McGrath unveils the next phase of the experience, Bridge Certification Program, now enhanced with artificial intelligence that adapts to cultural contexts. The system displays on massive screens around the room, showing how it helps individuals identify and translate their traditional skills into digital age assets. Watch this, she demonstrates, inputting data from a participant from Kenya. The system recognizes traditional pastoral knowledge and shows how it applies to modern, sustainable agriculture technology. It's not replacing wisdom, it's amplifying it. Paul Hansen coordinates a live global broadcast of the evening's events, connecting with satellite celebrations in 20 different cities. Screens around the room show similar gatherings in Tokyo, London, São Paulo, and other hub cities, each adding its own cultural flavor to the celebration while maintaining the core message of bridging experience with innovation. We're trending. Globally, he announces, checking social media metrics. The hashtag #WisdomBridges is being used in 43 languages. Near the center's heritage wall, now expanded to include international success stories, Cynthia Guzman hosts a panel discussion with financial technology leaders from various countries. They share insights about how traditional banking wisdom has proven crucial in developing secure and user-friendly digital payment systems. In Indonesia, a delegate explains, we discovered that local money lending traditions held surprising solutions for modern microfinance algorithms. It was the experience of village elders that helped us understand how to make digital banking more accessible and trustworthy. Timothy Snow demonstrates the latest evolution of the program's training modules, now incorporating virtual reality technology that allows participants to practice bridging traditional and modern techniques in a safe, supportive environment. Delegates take turns experiencing simulations that help traditional craftspeople adapt their skills to digital marketplaces while preserving the essence of their art. This isn't about replacing traditional methods, he emphasizes. It's about creating harmony between old and new, finding the sweet spot where experience enhances innovation. Eric Carrillo leads a special presentation on the program's economic impact across different cultures and markets. The data tells a compelling story. Regions implementing the Bridge to Tomorrow initiative show significantly smoother technological transitions, higher worker satisfaction, and better preservation of cultural knowledge. We're seeing a paradigm shift, he explains, pointing to global statistics. Companies are realizing that the most successful digital transformations happen when they leverage existing human wisdom rather than trying to replace it. Robin Baker shares remarkable employment data from various countries, a 78% success rate in placing experienced workers in transition specialist roles, a 65% increase in senior employment in technology sectors, and a 92% satisfaction rate among businesses utilizing the program's approach to technological adaptation. As the evening progresses, Beverly takes the stage for a special announcement. The room falls silent. Hundreds of faces turned expectantly toward her, translation earpieces ready to carry her words across language barriers. When I was homeless in Columbus, she begins, her voice carrying emotion and strength. I thought my experience had become worthless in the digital age. Today, we're announcing the launch of the Global Wisdom Network, a digital platform that will connect experienced workers worldwide with organizations undergoing technological transition. The screens behind her illuminate with a demonstration of the platform, showing how traditional knowledge from any culture can find new applications in the modern world. It's a sophisticated system that uses artificial intelligence to identify and translate valuable experience across cultural and technological boundaries. This platform, she continues, is built on a simple truth we've discovered through this program. Every culture, every tradition, every lifetime of experience holds wisdom that can enhance our journey into the future. We're not just preserving the knowledge, we're creating a global legacy of shared wisdom. Usha Vance joins Beverly on stage for the official launch, their presence together a powerful reminder of how a single moment of human connection can spark global change. As they activate the platform together, screens around the world light up with real-time connections being made between experience and opportunity. The celebration takes on new energy as success stories begin flowing in from the platform's first matches. A traditional Chinese medicine practitioner connecting with a medical technology company in Switzerland, an indigenous Australian tracker sharing environmental wisdom with climate change researchers, a master carpenter from Germany helping robotics engineers understand the subtleties of woodworking. The evening's entertainment showcases the beautiful fusion of traditional and modern artistic expressions. A classical Indian dancer performs alongside a digital artist, their movements creating real-time digital art that honors both ancient and contemporary aesthetics. A West African griot's traditional storytelling is enhanced by augmented reality, bringing ancient tales to life in new ways while preserving their cultural essence. As midnight approaches, Beverly finds a quiet moment with Usha near the window. Where they had stood that morning, the city lights below mirror the stars above, creating a sense of infinite possibility. "You know what I realized today?" Beverly says, watching the global celebration continue around them. "We're not just building bridges between past and future anymore. We're creating a whole new way of seeing progress, one that carries everyone's wisdom forward." Usha nods, understanding the profound truth in those words. That's because real innovation isn't about leaving people behind. It's about lifting everyone up, helping each person recognize and reshape their value for a changing world. The evening concludes with a powerful ceremony. Participants from each country add their own traditional symbols of wisdom to a digital art installation that grows and evolves with each contribution. The result is a stunning visualization of global experience flowing into the future, a living testament to the power of human wisdom in the digital age. As delegates prepare to return to their home countries, each carries not just new knowledge and connections, but a deeper understanding of how their own cultural wisdom can contribute to global progress. The International Bridge Center has become more than just a building in Columbus. It's become a beacon of hope for anyone who fears their experience might be left behind by technological change. Beverly's final address of the evening captures the spirit of everything the program has become. We stand at a unique moment in human history, where the rapid pace of technological change threatens to overshadow centuries of human wisdom. But through this program, we've discovered that the solution isn't choosing between tradition and innovation. It's building bridges between them. Every person carries valuable experience. Every culture holds essential wisdom. And when we create pathways to share that wisdom, we don't just preserve it, we transform it into something even more valuable. The night ends with a traditional ceremony from each participating culture, each one adapted to include modern elements while preserving its essential meaning. It's a powerful demonstration of the program's core philosophy. Progress doesn't require abandoning the past. It requires building upon it. As the last guests depart, Beverly and Usha stand once more at the window, watching the international delegates return to their hotels. Tomorrow, they'll all travel back to their home countries, carrying with them the seeds of change, the tools for transformation, and most importantly, the understanding that every person's experience holds value in the digital age. 6 months ago, Beverly reflects, we were celebrating national success in Washington. Tonight, we're watching a global movement take flight. And to think it all started with you stopping to talk to a stranger in need. Usha smiles, remembering that cold Columbus morning that now seems both yesterday and a lifetime ago. That's the real lesson in all of this, isn't it? Every moment of human connection carries the potential for transformation. We just have to be brave enough to stop, to see each other, to recognize the value in every person's story. As they prepare to leave, the Global Wisdom Network platform continues to pulse with activity on the monitors behind them, making connections across time zones and cultures. Each match represents another bridge being built, another piece of human wisdom being preserved and transformed for the future. The International Bridge Center stands quiet now, but its impact reverberates around the globe. In countless cities, towns and villages, people who thought their experience had become obsolete are discovering new ways to contribute, to grow, to share their wisdom with a changing world. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities, new bridges to build. But tonight, in the quiet aftermath of this global celebration, the truth seems clearer than ever. In the race toward technological progress, the most valuable innovation might be finding ways to carry human wisdom forward, ensuring that no experience is left behind, no story goes untold, no bridge remains unbuilt between the richness of human experience and the promise of tomorrow's innovations.